Okay, so I'm going to have a look at the selection tools. Now, there's a lot of stuff you can do for selection in Photoshop, so I'll show you some of my favourites in this video, and I'll show you some others in the class. The most obvious one, which I went over briefly before, is the lasso tool. This is good, old school, easy to use, hard to master, but you're literally drawing around the shape. You don't have any guides, you don't have any control other than the steadiness of your hand. And some of us like it that way, but frankly, those people are silly. It's good for small sections and refining selections, which we'll get into, but doing the entire thing like that is just nightmarish. Why would you do that? You can do the same with the polygonal. The magnetic ones are a wee bit easier to use, but even then you still have to trace round very carefully the shape of the cat or whatever it is you're doing. Maybe not a cat. And it's going to miss bits and it's going to add bits. You're going to go have to fix it anyway. But out of those three, that's probably your best bet. Anyway, there's way fancier ones than that. So I'm going to show you here. There's the Magic Wand tool, which I've mentioned before, where if you click on a pixel, it will basically spread out until it hits a threshold where it is no longer of a similar colour, and that can work really nicely. You can adjust that by upping the tolerance up here, so the lower the tolerance, then the less selections it's going to make, the higher the tolerance, the more. So I'll put that to 50. We'll try that again, and you'll see it's spread out quite considerably more throughout the pussycat. Up here you can go contiguous, turn that off, and what it means is it will select everything in that image. So you can see the select parts here, little islands all over the place that are similar to that colour. So that can be really useful to use. But what I find even more useful is the quick selection tool. So let me just deselect that. It's Control D, I think. Yep. The quick selection tool allows you to paint over an object very roughly, and it will basically expand out, kind of like a mixture between the lasso and the magic wand, but it gives you a really nicely defined edge around everything. See that? Oh, gorgeous. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to paint. Okay, burst out a bit there. That's good, because I'll show you how to fix that. So I'm just going to go around and select the little paws, and maybe this little paw and shadow here. I'm going to go around and select all that parts of the pussycat here. So there's a couple of ways you can refine your selection. Obviously we don't want this big bit of the background. So at this point I am going to go back to the lasso tool. But you can use any of these, they all work pretty much the same way. I'm going to zoom in so I can actually see what I'm doing. And then with the lasso tool, the lasso, however you want to pronounce it, you can change whether, at the moment you're just drawing a selection. And if you start drawing, it'll delete what you've done before. So that's not good. What you can do is push Shift. Oops, that's not Shift, that's Control. Push Shift, and that can add to the selection. Yeah. Or you can push Alt, and it will take away from the selection. So you can go in, and you can really get stuck in getting really precise with what you're cutting away. Like so. And just do it in little stages. I mean, whatever way you're comfortable doing it, but I prefer to do it in little stages like that. Very nice. And I would basically go around the whole pussycat doing this, making sure I've got all the bits I want, cutting away the bits I don't want. So let's see if there's any bits missing that I might want to add. Alright, there's a bit of his paw down here that I want to add, so I'm just going to, with the lasso, I'm going to hold Shift to add. Remember, it's Shift to add, Alt to subtract, and then I'm just going to draw around like so. This will work exactly the same way if you want to go back with the magic wand or the any of the selection tools. If you hold Shift, it'll add, Alt, it'll subtract, until you get to a stage that you're happy with. Now, you've put a lot of work in going around and defining these edges and stuff, and it's a bit of a whitey if you accidentally select something else and that disappears. So you can save your selection. If you go to Select, select, save selection. It should give me a dialog box. There we go. With channels, it depends what you set up. We don't need to worry about channels just now. So I'm just going to pick up new, and I'm just going to call that kitten full, and then OK. And then say I do something, and then deselect it, do some other things, make another selection. Oh no! And I want to select the cat again. I can go to select, load selection, and then choose the one that you did, the channel. You saved it as a selection channel. So kitten full, boom, and then we got the selection back again, which is dead nice. You can refine this even further, believe it or not, with the help of computers. So if you go to select and then select and mask, now this is different in this Photoshop. It might change, I don't know when it changed, but it used to just be its own thing. But if you go to select and mask, you'll see now that it's showing you what you're going to get in your selection. So that's pretty good all around. This bit's a bit crap. We could go and sort that out. And there's various tools here you can use. So you can feather it out. Feathering out basically means you're just blurring the edges slightly. So there's an extreme example. So, but if you feather out just a wee bit, you get that kind of fuzzy wuzzy around the outside. That's a bit better already. You can up the contrast of it, which basically makes the edge harder or softer. You can shift the edge, so you can expand it out and in. Let's go back to 0. And you can smooth it as well. So I don't know if that will be very obvious now, but yeah, basically it'll stop any jaggy bits from looking a bit jaggy. You can also change, the radius, which is, let's see, there you go. So what that's basically doing is it's going to calculate kind of how far in you want to go at different points. So it's quite good for, again, just refining the edge slightly there. Yeah, so that's quite nice. You can change the transparency of the background to make it really obvious. See, that looks kind of alright there. Oh, actually, it looks crap. But if you go right the way out, you can see exactly what you're doing and give you a better idea of kind of what you're cutting out. And then, okay, that's crap. Let's say I'm happy with that. I'm not, but let's say I am. I could now go save that selection again, and I've got that saved. So I now know that it's always going to look like that. Really, really handy tools. You'll use the selection tool for masking, which we'll cover in the next video. You can use it, well, you use it for other types of masking, but you can also use it to just cut bits out of things, which you would generally use a mask for. But if you're wanting to do, in fact, the vast majority of the time you're going to be masking using this, but there are other uses for it as well. So anyway, have fun with that.